Down there, driven it a couple times, and it is going down into the creek if we don't get to it right now. So, Jim, do I have a motion to approve the engineer's recommendations? Or a second? Vicki?
Yes.
Johnny? Got it?
Definitely, that needs to get done.
Yeah, I know. And if next time it rains real hard, who knows where this road's gonna be? Is there any discussion? Yeah, Tom?
Is this a Band-Aid, or is this gonna be a long, this is a Band-Aid?
No, it's not a
No.
Band-Aid. This is a fix.
This is a fix.
It's, if I have it correctly, we've done some really good work down there. This is right next to it. And so it's just completing the area we didn't think we were gonna have to get to this.
We anticipated somewhere in the future it might need that repair. We did a significant amount of work before, and we were hopeful that it would not cause us to have to address it again anytime in the near future. But you know that we had a couple of significant storms where Bankley Creek actually flooded the park down there again, and that particular storm took out part of the road adjacent to where we made the last repair, and this is just an extension.
Sometime, if you guys got nothing to do, go down there and get out of your car or roll out your window and sit there and listen to Bankley Creek roll by there. It's, the power of water is amazing. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that's done.
That's all I have, sir.
All right. Any questions, Mr. Fias? Mr. Wickman, City Attorney.
Nothing but the ordinances and municipal orders, Mayor.
Any questions of Mr. Wickman? Mr. Fields, CAO.
The only thing I'd like to add is all the events that the city has done, especially the last Thanksgiving one. I know several of you were there. Went off very well, just like the Halloween one that did. And Ms. Moffitt is doing a very good job putting those on. I'm looking forward to these next couple here in December. They deserve a lot of credit. A lot of people here on this council were there Thanksgiving, volunteered, and all the staff that volunteered. Thank you very much for being there. And that's about it.
You all have been getting Mark's reports, weekly reports. So you get a feel for just how darn busy we are. And Mark, those reports are great, so I hope you can keep it up. Any questions of Mr. Fields? You all have heard the reports of city operations. I'll entertain a motion to be adopted. The presented motion by Mr. Burke, second by Mr. Dunoff. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence. Ms. Hoffman.
I do not have any, sir.
Yes, Renee.
I really thought they would address this during the police report, so I kind of waited. But I think we need to recognize Lieutenant Doug Eagler for his work with the United Christian. It's either United Christian Volunteers or Food Pantry or Erlanger Ellesmere United Ministries. His picture was on the front page of the local section of the Enquirer, and then he was also on the inside page. So I mean, it was. I still like to turn my papers. I don't get on the internet and look at stuff. I like to feel that paper in my hand when I turn the page. So it was a very good picture. So I think he needs kind of recognized for that.
Make sure that Mr. Eagler knows that he was recognized at council for all his hard work.
There were several officers that participated. That was a canned food drive. And he was just delivering the canned food. I think they collected 2 pickup truckloads of canned food. Myself and several other officers were up there during that time. And I think he just was the one that helped deliver it. So they did a great job.
Congratulations to all of you. Any correspondence, John?
Yes, I do. It was brought up tonight. Dave Leonard was here, and I wanted to make a comment to him. I didn't get to say it to him personally, but about a month ago, it was after we had our last council meeting. The dispatch office got a call from my wife's mother that something happened at her duplex, and Dave Leonard recognized the name, so he did call me and tell me he had dispatched a unit over to my mother-in-law's house, and we got in the car, we went over there, and I just want to thank him because she was in hysterics. But by the time I got there, the young lady was a police officer. I can't think of her name right now, but she just had everything under control and you know my mother-in-law, how tight she can get. Wow. And she had her so calmed down and everything, and then she remembered exactly where she put something, and it wasn't taken after all. So, but I just want to thank the police department because that girl was awesome, and the dispatch unit, we're getting over there. Thank you.
Any other correspondence? Moving on to citizens and public comments. Anybody signed up? Nope, nobody wants to talk to us tonight. All right, which is not always a bad thing. Bids, Gateway Project, Phase 2, Mr. Viox.
Yes, sir. On your desk, you have, if you turn to the, let's make it the fourth page. Make it the third page. We had 2 bids today for the Gateway Project Phase 2, and I'm going to emphasize Phase 2 because it hopefully recognized that Phase 1 has been a great improvement out there. Not only have we been keeping the area spiffy, but obviously the trees are not standing out so well right now because there's no foliage on them, but they certainly appeared well when we put them up, and we expect that in the springtime they're going to be great. This is Phase 2. The 2 bidders, TMS Construction Company, their total base bid was $228,847.95. You go to the last page, you'll see that the alternate bid was $9,530. Paul Michaels and Sons, their base bid was $287,124.60, and their alternate bid was $4,871. If you go back to the first page, the low bidder TMS Construction with the alternate bid, the total would be $238,377.95. We, Rick and I, are both recommending we award the work to TMS Construction, and so that you know what kind of work it's going to be. It's going to be similar to the Dixie Highway in that we're going to remove the utilities, the grass utility strip, the one that always looks so raggedy between this curb and the sidewalk. It's going to be replaced for the most part with stamped concrete. A lot of the sidewalk is actually going to be replaced. The crosswalks at the interchange are going to be improved. A lot of new vegetation, and we think that this is going to be a great enhancement. We also are going to attack the bus stop and prepare it for a new bus shelter and make it a lot more attractive for the area, and remove it as being a blind spot coming out of Baker Street. For those of you that come out that way, you notice that you can't see. It says right turn on red, but you can do right turn on red, but you can't see anything. So all that's being taken care of with this project. So again, it's our recommendation we award the work to TMS Construction,
Is there a motion? Motion by
including the alternate.
Motion by Mr. Dunoff, second by Mr. Burke. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Any other bids?
That's all I have.
No, sir.
No other bids? Okay. Is there any reports of work in progress this evening? Is there any new business for the good and welfare of our city this evening? Legislation. Mr. Wickman.
Yes, sir. The first one is an ordinance of the City of Erlanger in Kenton County, Kentucky, adopting the 2013 Kentucky Residential Code by reference. This is simply an update. That code gets amended, I think, every 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. And we just enact an ordinance keeping current with the current provision of the residential code.
The motion would be to adopt the order published. Motion by Mr. Longshore, second by Mr. Cahill. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Dunhoff?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Skidmore?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Kyle?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Longshore?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pitts?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Cahill?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burke?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion carries all ayes. Mr. Wickman.
It's an ordinance of the City of Erlanger in Kenton County, Kentucky, adopting the 2012 International Fuel Gas Code. To my knowledge, this is a new code that we haven't adopted before, but it provides for regulations in regard to the design and installation of fuel gas systems in buildings in the city.
And the reason we are adopting this code is? Somebody telling us to?
I really don't know the answer to that. I think that probably the State Department of Buildings and Construction is either telling us to or recommending it, one of the two.
Motion be to adopt and order published. Motion by Mr. Longshore, second by Mr. Cahill. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burke?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Cahill?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pitts?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Longshore?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Kyle?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Skidmore?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dunhoff?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion carries, all ayes. Mr. Wickman.
It's an ordinance of the City of Erlanger in Kenton County, Kentucky, repealing ordinances numbered 2225 and 2305, and the monthly subscriber service charge levied and imposed thereby on every telephone service subscriber in the city. By summary, this simply eliminates the landline charge that we've supplanted with the franchise, electric franchise. It's effective December 31st.
Motion be to adopt and order published. Motion by Ms. Kyle, second by Mr. Brown. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Ms. Skidmore?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Kyle?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Longshore?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pitts?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Cahill?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burke?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dunhoff?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
Municipal orders now. Mr. Wickman.
It's a municipal order of the City of Erlanger in Kenton County, Kentucky, approving the reappointment of Steve Conley, James E. Molly, and Joshua Weiss as members of the Board of Adjustments for the City of Erlanger.
Motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Don, second by Mr. Burke. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
It's a municipal order of the City Council of the City of Erlanger in Kenton County, Kentucky, approving the reappointment of Mayor Thomas L. Rouse as the representative of the city to the Northern Kentucky Area Planning Council, and Councilmember Randy Blankenship as the alternate.
For a term of 1 year. Motion to approve by Mr. Howard, second by Mr. Dunoff. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Municipal order of the City Council of the City of Erlanger in Kenton County, Kentucky, approving the reappointment of Councilmember Tom Cahill Jr. as representative of the city to the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Regional Council of Governments.
Motion to approve this appointment by Ms. Kyle, second by Mr. Burke. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
A municipal order of the City Council of the City of Erlanger in Kenton County, Kentucky, approving the reappointment of members Pat Geddes and Jim Viox, and the appointment of Doug Conley to the Local Appeals Board for the City of Erlanger for the enforcement of the Kentucky Building Code.
Motion to approve by Mr. Dunoff, second by Mr. Longshore. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We got those boards filled, that's good. Anybody wanting to be on the North Kentucky Area Planning Council, please. Yeah, they were real thrilling. We are at the end of our agenda. I was entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Longshore, second by Ms. Skidmore. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? See you in a couple weeks.